All right, guys, what's up? Welcome to your leg day. Just like the arm day, we're going to do 5 exercises, and I'm going to go through modifications for each one and things that you could remember to make sure that you have a great workout. So the first thing I want to talk about is squats. There are plenty of variations for squats, but I just want to start you guys out with air squats, okay? The proper foundation for this is going to be to have your weight in your heels. We don't want to be leaning forward too much. We don't want to be leaning backwards too much. So we want our weight in the heels to the point where you could lift your toes up off the ground if you wanted to. Then you want to have your feet about hips width distance apart. If you need to measure, that's usually a little bit more than 2 fists. Right under your hips, bend your knees just a little, tighten your core, chest is up. When we sit back, I know a lot of times people are like, well, don't put your knees over your toes. That's terrible form. Or, sit back into a chair and keep your torso all the way up. Some of these things work for some body types and some don't. So what I want you to do is feel the way this feels, if that sounds right. From the inside, you know what feels good and what doesn't. You know what muscles are engaging and what aren't. So listen to your body. With our feet in the right place, we're going to sit low into a chair. As you go down, sink into the heels, booty comes out. Chest is about a 45-degree angle, but your back is straight. So we're not doing this. We're also not doing this. Your chest also does not need to be vertical. Chest normal. You can have your arms out if you want to counterbalance, but we're going to sit back in that chair and then press from the heels. Drive it back up. Squeeze on the way up. Squeeze everything. Down, up, down, up. Powerful. Down, up. Modifications for this. We can hold on to something. We can make sure that we don't go low. You can also put something behind your heels to elevate them. This will bring more of the emphasis to your quads. It will also take out some of the stretch in your calves and your ankles. So if you have trouble with your ankles in this movement, with the mobility, raising up your heels is going to help that movement. Okay? Moving on. So next up, we've got our split squat. All this is putting one foot behind the other. So it's similar to a lunge, but we're not moving. So this is a static movement. You're gonna keep your feet in the same place. One foot in front of the other, kind of like, think train tracks instead of a tightrope. Hips width distance again. We're gonna sink, the front knee is gonna bend at a 90-degree angle. The back knee is gonna sink down to the ground. We're gonna go right back up. And that's it, down and up. Now, again, the difference between that and a reverse lunge is the movement, or a forward lunge. For our static squat, we're not moving, just down and up. Feet stay in the same place. Keep the emphasis on the heel of the front foot. That's where we're driving through. And the back foot, you're up on the toes. Down, up. What this looks like from the side. As we start, knee is over the ankle. Ball of the foot in the back. Nice straight line. And down. See how my legs make 2 90-degree angles? And back up. Down, back up. You're squeezing both legs. So we are squeezing the glute on the left, quadricep on the right. Lateral squats. Exactly what it sounds like. Lateral, we're going left and right. So, for this, again, just like the split squats, we're not gonna move. So our feet are at a wide stance. Now, if we're going to one side, The other side's leg is staying nice and straight. The knee isn't locked, but the leg is staying straight. The ball of the foot as well as the heel of the foot are all staying on the ground. All we're gonna do is shift our weight to one side. So that knee is gonna bend. If it goes over the toes a little bit, that's okay. But put the emphasis in your glute. So it's as if you're sitting in a little chair over here, and then when we switch, little chair over here. What this looks like from the side is like this. Let me get in line with the camera. This. You're gonna feel a stretch on the inside. The emphasis again is on the outside of the glute. See, my knee goes over my toe just a little bit, and that's okay. Keep the chest up, keep the core tight. If you want to add weights to these, you can. You can either have 2 weights for one leg, or you can add 1 weight for each leg. Totally up to you. Glute raises. Everybody wants to work their butt. So the proper form for this is laying down. Yay! So what we're gonna do, I'm not gonna lay all the way down because I'm kind of in the grass, but what I want you to do is put your back solidly on the floor. Your head will also be on the floor, but again, I'm in the ground. So your heels you should be able to touch them. They shouldn't be too far away, and they shouldn't be like right here. They should be at a nice parallel or perpendicular to the ground. You should be able to touch your heels. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay down, and I want you to drive through your heels. Your toes could come right off the floor. We're just driving the heels down, hip bones up. Squeeze at the top. Make sure you give it an extra beat at the top. Squeeze these glutes. Pretend like you have a pencil in between your butt cheeks and you don't want anybody to get it. Down, up. While you're doing this, you're also keeping your core nice and tight and your shoulders relaxed. Your arms are not involved in this. All right, let me know if you guys have any questions. So calf raises are something that most people forget about, but working your calves is also going to work your hamstrings and your glutes. It's all part of your leg, and it'll also help to strengthen your knee and your ankle. All of those tendons in there are very important. What we don't want to do is put stress on the ankle, so make sure that you do these slow. I wouldn't add a lot of weight. And you can completely determine how high or how low you go. All we're gonna do is find ourselves something to balance with. Feet are hips width distance. While balancing, up, down, up, down, up, down. From the front, it looks like this. Up, down. Up, down, up, down. Now, as you can see, my ankles wobble a little because I'm not holding anything, but when you're holding something, you're gonna be focused right there on your calf. You can go as high or as low as you'd like. You can also add a little bit more depth by doing your calf raises on something raised, like a step or a stone. You can do it on a weight, whatever you'd like. Just make sure that you go slow. Another way to make this harder, if you want to, is to do them alternating. So do one at a time. Anything where you're standing on just one leg is gonna make the movement a little bit harder, and it's gonna add more emphasis. So a couple of stretches for your legs. First off, you can come down to the floor and just do a seated straight leg stretch. Stretch the legs out in front of you, sit tall before we go over, and then slowly lean over and start to touch your toes. You're gonna feel this in the backs of the knees, the hamstrings, possibly your calves. What I don't want you to do is round. What I want you to do is bend right from the hip straight. If all you get is here, but you feel it, that's all that matters. Another one that is great, especially for your hips, is called a figure 4. You can do this from a variety of different positions. So we can stay in that seated position and simply cross the right ankle over the left knee so that it looks like a 4. You're gonna have your knee out to the side, your left leg, flex your foot, and then lean forward. You're gonna feel this on your right hip. Switch the legs to do the left. You can also do this from a laying down position. So from here, same exact thing. Right ankle goes over the left knee, and then this time you pull the leg instead of bending forward. If this puts too much pressure on this leg, you can also bend. Okay. For the quadriceps, you can either stand up and do your traditional quadricep stretch, or you can lay down if you're really flexible. Tuck it behind you, one at a time. Do like a runner's stretch. Also make sure that you stretch out your ankles, insides and outsides of your hips. And let me know if you guys have any questions, okay?